Welcome to TechbrothersIT. In this video, we are going to learn how to read file from Azure Blob storage container and write to the Azure VM drive such as DC drive or D drive or any file share on the Azure VM by using SSIS package in Azure Data Factory. Now, what we are going to learn, we are going to learn a lot of things. We are going to learn how to create the SSIS IR to store our SSIS packages into the Azure DB. Then we are gonna create the SSIS package that will be reading the file from Azure Blob storage and then writing to the Azure VM. Then we will deploy the package to the SSIS DB. We will execute that SSIS package from the SSIS DB. We will also take that SSIS package and run through the Azure Data Factory pipeline as well. So there are tons of steps you need to learn from this video. I will just say stick around and try to go through all the steps. If you know some of them, then you use the YouTube timelines to skip those past. I will put those timelines as well, and also the scripts or anything I will use, I will put in the description as well. Now let me take you to the Azure Data Factory here first. So this is my Azure Data Factory. And in the Azure Data Factory, that's where we are going to create our pipeline and call the SSIS package. As of now, I have nothing here. And right here, I have a few things first of all, I have storage. And in the storage, I have created a container. And in the container, that's the input container. And there is a single file sitting there, total sale. That's the file I want to read. Maybe implement some more logics to it. Maybe I want to concatenate columns and all those kind of things. And then write to the Azure VM. From there, maybe it is consumed by another process or whatever. Now, what we are going to do from here, this is my file. So let me show you the file. So it has ID, salesperson, first name, last name, and all that. So there are total 11 records. So that's cool. I don't have Azure VM here. So first of all, I'm going to create a virtual machine. That's where we would like to write our file. So I'm going to go ahead and create virtual machine. This is going to stay in the same resource group. I'm going to call this one Tech Brothers RDP. Okay, it's just a remote server, and just creating it. It's going to have Windows 2019. And then yeah, that's fine. I will use username here and then provide the password. Okay, have to provide the password. Okay, so this is all good, and we don't have to do a whole lot on this VM. And I'm gonna simply go ahead and create this VM. Once the VM is created, we will log into it. Let's hit create. Okay, our VM is going to take some time to create, and meanwhile what we can do, we can go right here and go to Data Factory and create our SSIS IR, because we know that we need to save our SSIS packages. So if I go to integration runtime, and that's where we're going to create our SSIS IR. To create the SSIS IR, we need the Azure SQL database that I already have created. So it's a Tech Brothers server, that's where it is, and I'm already connected to that database right here. So it has only single database as of now. This is Azure SQL database. So it's not a managed instance or all that. It's just Azure SQL DB. Now I go back here and I'm gonna go to the Azure Data Factory. Here I'm gonna select Azure SSIS IR, and now I'm going to give a very small configuration because I don't want to pay a whole lot of money, and I'm going to call this SSIS IR. Now this is good. Let's hit continue, and then it's asking, hey, you want to create your catalog? Yes, would like to do on Azure SQL database or managed instance. In my case, it's gonna be Azure SQL database. So yes, hit this one, and then select subscription, your region, and that's the name of our Azure SQL database. Now here we are gonna use the username and password. So TB user. Okay, so what we can do here, we are good with the database tier. We are not gonna go to too many, higher configuration because we don't want to pay a whole lot, or we can even stick with the basic, So we are good here. It continue, and now we are going to we are not doing any VNet and all that here. So we can just leave this everything as it is and validate VNet. Sorry, I actually should have unchecked this. So I'm not using VNet and all that. So that's why I'm just gonna uncheck that part. We have the videos where we use the VNets and all that, so you can use that. Click on next and create. It's going to create our SSIS IR and it will show up right here once it's done. So it's going to be right here and under this Tech Browser server, that's where it's going to show us. So that's the server we choose for our SSIS DB on the Azure. Right now it says only Tech Browser DB. And then once we have uh, SSIS DB, the catalog will show us folders and all that. So we will use them to deploy our SSIS package. Now that's working. It's going to take some time, and let's see what happened. It says that Azure SQL due to the details. Let's check that Azure SQL message failed to connect with DP due to the this message cannot open server. Request by login. It's not allowed to access the server. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have. Or maybe I have used this one for some different configuration, and that's where the problem could be. Let's go right here and go to the firewall on our settings here. I want to go here actually with this Azure. Actually, I was using the same database for some other testing, and that's where I had made this user as a set admin. So I'm going to remove this admin. So from the Azure Active Directory, so I removed that user and then see if that helps us. Because once you create your Azure SQL database, it is not going to set up all those things here. So this was just for something else. So I was doing some other demos here. So we allow Azure services and resources to the server. Yes. Now I go back and I'm going to go ahead and hit to start again and see this time if it will pass. So in your case, you're going to simply create your Azure SQL database. You are not going to have this Azure Active Directory set and different AAD and all that. So that's could be the problem. And also, if you remember that, allow Azure services and resources to access the servers. This has to be yes. So we should be good now. So now it is starting and it's going to take some time. Meanwhile, what we will do, we will create our SSIS package. Now let's go to the Visual Studio, and in the Visual Studio, I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And in this project, I'm going to select the integration runtime project, integration services, sorry. So I call it Azure Blob storage to Azure VM. That's what I'm giving a name. And save changes, no, I don't want to save any changes to the old packages. So here is my project ready. I'm going to go set the project, and here I'm going to select 2017 because I was doing 2019, and when I was deploying to the Azure SQL DB, I was getting some errors. So that's why I'm setting the SQL Server 2017 in my project. Now here is my SSIS package, and I'm going to rename this package. I'm going to call this one pkg file Azure Blob to VM. Okay, that's what the name is going to be. Now what we need, we are going to use data flow here, and we are not just copying the entire file. I want to read the file and then do maybe some other items there, maybe deploy, put some drive column or something like that, and then write to the Azure VM. So we are performing some other actions as well. So go to the data flow, and inside the data flow, go to the Azure tab here, and you're gonna see flexible file source. So this is the source we will be using to read our file from the Azure Blob storage. If you don't have this, I will put the link, and you have to install this extension. So this is a you might see this grayed out in your case, and I will put that. This is called Azure Feature Pack. So once you install that, you will reopen your project. It will show you this flexible file source. I have many videos on this one, how to download this Azure Feature Pack, and then install. It's very simple. You just download and install and reopen your Visual Studio, and it will show you these tasks. This is a Microsoft product. So we are gonna go right there, and I'm gonna cancel this. Double click on flexible file source, and here you're going to go to storage and hit new. And now it is asking you your account name, and then you have a authentication method. In this case we are going to use access key. So first of all I have to provide the name. I'm going to go right there, and meanwhile our SSIS IR is also ready and is running. So let me show you the database has been created here. So this is our Azure SQL database, and SSIS DB is ready. So that's great. What we are going to do, we are going to first create the package and then deploy right here. Now I'll go back here and portal, and in the portal you have seen this is my storage. So I'm going to go to storage, and that's my account name. So I'm going to copy my account name and then go to the package pack right here and provide my account name and copy the whole thing. So I just need this part. Okay, so now I have to provide access key. So I'm going to go back here and go to the access keys and then show keys, and here I'm going to copy the key. Now I go back to my package, and here I'm going to paste that. Now it's going to test connection, successful, good. Now here is the folder path. So that's our input container. So if you remember that, we have input container right there, and that's what we are using or placing in the folder. So see, this is our input container. So that's why I'm putting it right here. Okay, and then finally we have to put the total sale.csv. That's our file. This has the first row as the column name, so I'm going to put that, and this is text file and comma delimited as well. So if you have pipe delimited or all that, you can change right here. There are other types so it also support. In my case it's a text file. Go click on columns, and then we're all good to read these columns. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a drive column here just for show you a few things, because it's not simply like, oh, I need to just read the file. I also want to maybe implement some other tasks as well. So here maybe I create a new column, full name. In this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use two columns, salesperson first name, and then I'm going to use salesperson last name to add that, and then give a space between it. So now you see that this is Unicode. I can convert to maybe DTSTR if I want it. So if I will go right here, and I just go to typecast, and here I'm going to go to the DTSTR. Okay, here's that. So if you bring all the way here you have to provide the length. In my case, I'm going to go for the length 200, and then in the code is 1252. So 1252. Okay, so now you see that this is I have to put all together in the one parenthesis. Now it should be string. So this is our full name column has been created. Now what we want to do, we want to write this data to the some drive, right? So I'm going to use flat file destination, and in the flat file destination I will write to this some C drive or all that for now, and then fine, we will change in the configuration to write to the our Azure VM. So here I'm going to create the connection, and it's going to be delimited as well, and now I have to navigate where I would like to create that. So in my case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the this folder, and I want to place it there. And in this case I want to give this name called the flat file destination. So I would know that this is a connection manager, and the column headers, yes, and then I can browse here and provide the file name here. So in the input, and here I can say my test file, okay, 1 2 3 for now, and that's keep metadata, yes, and columns, and you can see right there all good, preview and mapping, and all good. Okay, so our package is ready. Now this package is going to read the data from our Azure Blob storage container, a file, and then write to our local computer in this case. So FFL source. So this package, as of now, we don't have Azure VM. This is going to write on my local computer. That's fine, because we have to deploy this package to the SSIS DB, and that's where we are going to make changes to write to the our VM. Okay, our package is completed and it has read 11 rows from Azure Blob storage, and we can go and take a look. It should have written those right here. So let me open, and this is the data it has written. And then at the last we have this full name column that's also added. Now that's great, but we are not going to just read the data from our blob storage and write to local computer on my laptop. We are interested to go and use this right to the Azure VM. So here's my Azure VM. I'm gonna go and log into it, and then we'll create a folder there, and then we'll use that one. So let's go right here, Tech Brothers RDP. So let's click on types. Here's my virtual machine, and I'm gonna log into that. So connect, and then do RDP, and here download RDP. Now that file is there. Open. So it was TB user. And we are going to log in. Let's make it just a little minimized and see what we can do here. So I'm going to scroll down here, and then I'm going to open a folder, and that's where we are going to create a folder here and then use that. So here is our C drive, and what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and create a folder called files. Okay, so I'm creating this folder called files, and then I'm going to share this folder. I'm going to close this all tabs. So here's files, and I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to go to properties, and then I'm going to go click on sharing, and here I'm going to share. And as of now, I have this TB user. I can go ahead and actually do everyone for now, and let's say you can give read and write to this for everyone, but you're going to be very specific which user you're going to use to log into this one. So that's fine. In this case, we have let's we can leave everyone for now here as well, but TB user should be the one which will be using read and write here. So no, that's fine. And this is the file share that is created. So hit OK. We can leave this open actually, and we can copy from here, and now we can copy and then go right there and paste it there. So you can see that the file share is open. Now we go back, and we are going to work on other parts of it, and that's where we would like to write our file. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to deploy my SSIS package first. So our SSIS IR is running, and we have already the SSIS DB created, and that's where we need to deploy our package. So I'm going to go back to my portal here, and let me cancel this and stop the package. And I'm going to right click here and say deploy. Now once I deploy, it's going to ask me some information where you would like to deploy. I'm going to do in SSIS in SQL Server, and then it's going to ask me my server name. I'm going to go back to my portal, and here is my, I'm going to get the SQL Server name here. This is let's click here. Once we click on the database, it's going to give us the server name right there. That's the server name we need. Okay, so I bring it here. I'll go to the right here, pasted that, and now it's asking me my username. So I'm going to provide username, and let's hit connect. And as we don't have any folders and all that, so what we have to do, we have to create a folder here for our SSIS packages, and I can call it SSIS packages test. Okay, now the folder is created, and under that folder, this whole project will be deployed. It has only one package as of now, and I'm going to hit deploy. So we are done with the deployment from our from my Visual Studio to the Azure SSIS DB that we have created. Now, if I go back here, and that's where I go to the integration runtimes and see my package is there or not. So if you go right there, let's refresh. Sometimes we have problems. Let's click right there. It's in a catalog that properties are not supported. So that's not an issue, I believe. It's just a connection. I have to reconnect. So now if I go right there and it is showing me, it was not an error, it was just you need to reconnect sometime and it will resolve that error, but we were getting. So in the SSIS DB, we have this folder, and that's where my project, and under the project, I have this package. So this is the package that is we are going to use to read the data from blob storage and write to the Azure VM share that we just created right there. Now, first of all, I'm going to right click here and go to configure, and once I configure it, I have to provide a few things. Go to connection managers, and in the connection managers, you see that the source and the key is blank. So first of all, this is the key we have to get again. So I will go back here and go to storage, and in the storage, remember that we have access keys, and that's where we need to get the same key. I had that in SSIS package, but that does not get saved when you deploy it. So that's one of the thing. Not a big deal. So we go back here and right here, go click right there, and then we are gonna put this key right there and hit OK. That's the only thing we have to do it here. And in the destination, if you remember, in my SSIS package, I was writing the data to my local drive, C drive. And here we are not going to write the data to our local driver. So we are going to click right there and hit edit. And that's where we are going to provide the value of this folder. So if you see right there, that's where we need to provide the values. That's our Azure VM, and this is the shared folder we created where we would like to put the file. So I'm going to go back here, and now I'm going to paste this path there, backslash. I can give any name, total sale dot cstxt file or whatever. Okay, so that should do it, and you see right there, that's a shared path on our Azure VM. So that should be taken care, and now hit OK, and now we can execute our SSIS package. I'm going to open a SSMS, go back here, right click and say execute, and hit OK, hit yes. So I just want to show you error, and once I show you error, I'm going to show you there is a step we need to do it. I'm just running it, so sometime you will just deploy the package, you will get the error, you never went to those documents, and that's now you see the problem. So what is happening here? The SSIS is trying to reach out to that Azure VM, and probably it is using the credential that's not saved. So we need to save the credential for this Azure VM in the SSIS DB, and that's where it's once we save it, we should be fine. Now the document you're going to use this one. So if you go right there, it tells you a lot more details like what to do. Here, what we are going to do, we are writing our file, see, connecting to file share on Azure VM. So if you want to do that, you have to open the SSMS SSIS DB. In the SSIS DB, you have to run this command. So I'm going to copy this command and then go to my SSMS, and here I'm going to go to the SSIS DB and open a query. And here you need to see a few things. So first you're going to leave this domain as it is because it's Azure VM. And second part, here you will be providing the local account of your virtual machine. Remember that when we created this VM, we provided the account to be user. So if you need to go back here and you go to this VM, you can go to the computer management. In the computer management, you are going to see those users there. So see right there, that's where my TB user is. So this is a built-in admin, but you can add your other users as well and try. Now this is the user I am using. So that user has to be added in this query. So once you do that, you have to also provide the password. So let's run our query, and now you see that this query has been completed successfully, and now we are good to go. Now let's open a new query, and here check the credentials. So if we want to make sure our credentials has been added, what we have to do, we have to go on the same page right here where that I'm going to put in description, and you can copy right there. So once you copy this statement and execute, it's going to show you what credentials you have saved. So let's execute this, and now we should be able to see right there, TB user has been added as execution user. So now when our SSIS package is going to run is going to use this credential for to log in to that Azure VM and write to the that path. So that should be doing it, and let's execute again, and now see if it is completing with success. So our SSIS package is running. Let's go to all messages. Okay, still we got this error. It's saying cannot open the path. So that's very weird. Let me make some changes here and see we are able to go to this path. So if I go back here and then if I do C drive $, if that will do it. Yeah, that works as well. So I'm going to give the fully qualified path here. I'm going to go back here. So let's go to the configuration. Let's go right there. And now if I put this path there, hit OK. Now we rerun this package again. This failed again, so I am not sure why it's not and cannot open the data file. Let me do one more thing here. Okay, before even I create the file, what I'm going to do instead of using this name of this VM, I'm going to use the IP. So I'm going to log into this. I'm already logged in actually. I'm going to go to run and say CMD, and then in the CMD I will say IP config. And here is my IP 10.0.0004. So if I do something like that, so backslash 10.0.0.4 backslash C drive files. If I do this is working. Okay, so I'm going to use the IP here. So let's go back to our right there, and here we'll go to the configure again, and then go to the properties, and here I will go to the destination, and instead of using the name of that our VM, I'm using the IP of that VM right now. So that should take care of it. Let's see. And we execute, and hit OK. Yes. It still gives me error, and I have already added this. After a lot of struggle and testing and all that, I believe I have figured out what is the problem. I went to the documents over and over and read this point, multiple times. Didn't really help. But anyways, I believe what is the issue, and I'm gonna go and make some changes and show you guys what can solve this problem. Now, first of all, I stopped my Azure SSIS IR because I need to drop this one. The reason I need to create this SSIS IR in the same VNet in which my VM is. So either possibility could be like you have created a separate VNet before, and then you created your the VM in the same VNet and also created your SSIS IR in the same VNet. In my case, I did not create the VNet in advance. So we have the VNet that was created by default. So this is called TechbrothersIT VNet default. So if I click right there, that's the VNet. It got created when we created this VM. Now we can use the same VNet in our Azure SSIS IR, but to do that, first of all, I need to drop this and then I'm going to create again. So I'm going to delete this SSIS IR. Also, I'm going to drop the database. So see right there, this SSIS DB, I'm going to go ahead and right click here and then delete. And that means we have to redeploy our packages. One SSIS DB will be recreated. I can click right there and refresh, and also refresh here. This should be gone as well. And sometime if it will not go, maybe I just have to reconnect and it will be wiped out. So you see that I am getting this error. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect and connect again. Let me connect. And my SSIS DB has gone because I just deleted, and also there is nothing under the integration services catalog. Now I'm going to go back to my portal, and if you guys remember that this is the VM we created, and the VNet was created automatically. So that steps can be, again I'm repeating, you could have created your VNet first, then created your Azure VM and added the Azure VM in that VNet by creating subnets and all that. And we have already tons of videos on that. And then you could have created another subnet in the same VNet and use for Azure SSIS IR. But in my case, I don't have it. So I'm going to move from here what I have. So I have a virtual network that was created default for my Azure VM. So I'm going to use that. Go to the factory again, click on new, and then Azure SSIS IR. Here I'm going to go with the single node, and here I'm going to go with 2 vCores, and I'm going to call this one SSIS IR. And here I'm going to go next, and now I will use my subscription here. Yes, I would like to create SSIS DB in my Azure SQL database because we have just dropped it. And this is a server or catalog server endpoint we are using right there. I'm not using AAD or anything. I'm going to use straightforward my username and credential for my Azure SQL database. Okay, so I can test my connection. Test is successful. Let's click on continue, and here what I need to do, I need to select a VNet for your Azure SSIS runtime to join, allow Data Factory to create certain network resources, and option to bring your own static public IP address. So this is what I was figuring out, like because if I can have a static IP, that's where probably it's going to be helpful. So I can use that as it's going to be in the same VNet with my VM. So once I click right there, it's showing me the VNets available. As of now, I have only one VNet, and that's by default VNet. It was created at time of when I was creating my VM. Here, I don't have to use any other subnet. If I want to create, I can go right now and create subnet in this VNet and use it. That's going to be working just fine. And I'm going to go ahead and validate VNet. Now VNet is validated successfully, and I'm gonna hit continue. Now it's gonna create my Azure SSIS IR in my VNet. That is also the same VNet for my Azure VM. Our SSIS IR is failed to start, and let's see what error we have here. And that's the error we are getting, and it is saying that failing to create the catalog because operation failed, internal server error. Cannot catalog DB. So it had problem when it was creating the database. So we can just give a try again. So it should be fine. Let me go back here. Integrations. Let's take a look on this server first. Yeah, it did not create the catalog, so it was probably just an internal server error. So we are gonna give a try again. Go to the briefcase here, and now we go and right here and start again. This is a long time. I wish it would throw you error right away, but 5 minutes ago it threw error after. Failed to create catalog, database equals server number, this message create database operation failed, internal server error. A server error occurred at the current command. There should be discarded activity. Okay, so looks like integration runtime starting again. So let's wait for it. Okay, we don't have any problems here now. All the windows I closed, maybe just there was some lock or all that because of that. So we are gonna just wait for it and let it start the Azure SSIS IR. So finally our SSIS IR is up and running, and we should take a look on the database, and here is I'm gonna refresh, and now our integration, let me disconnect and reconnect. So now we should be moving forward pretty quick. And now what we are gonna have here, database is SSIS DB should be there, and then integration services catalog is also there. So we have we don't have any folder here. We are gonna go ahead and deploy again. Let's hit next, and here we will be providing our Azure SQL DB. SQL authentication, TB user, and I'm going to provide the password. Connect, and it's going to ask you browse, because we don't have this old folder we created. We have to create a new folder. SSIS packages. Hit OK. Now hit OK, and here we are gonna next and deploy. So once we are done with the deployment, the last time, remember that we had to pass that the key for our blob storage. So we are gonna go back here, go to the Azure Blob storage, and here is my access keys. So go to access keys, and we are gonna copy and keep with us, and we will be able to use it. Now let's go back here and see what is happening with the deployment. So our deployment has been completed successfully. Let's close this. Now go to the SSIS catalog, refresh. We should see the folder. Under the folder, we should see the projects. Projects has these packages right there, and right click and configure. We are seeing this error, task format dialog host. This is related to nothing. We have to just disconnect and reconnect, and that should take care of it. TB user. This should be all good here. Let's go back again to the package, and then go right click on the package, and here configure. I am not sure why I'm seeing this error again. I cannot access the disposed object task window. That shouldn't be case here. Maybe it is just going to take some time. Let me refresh and reconfigure again. I'm still getting this error, so I'm gonna do one thing. What I will do here, I will go to the folder here, SSIS Packages, and delete this folder. And I'm gonna go ahead and create a new folder. Okay, let's projects and packages, delete, and see if it deletes. Okay, the project is deleted. I'm gonna go ahead and redeploy, and here right click, redeploy. Here, this video, I'm sure you're gonna be really annoyed, but believe me, I'm also not happy with this, all the steps I had to do for this one. Okay, let's connect, and I'm gonna browse, and I'm gonna go to the SSIS. Here I'm gonna create a new folder. I call it new SSIS packages, so we make sure we have no problem. And here, okay, next, and then deploy. Also, what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect from the management studio, and then reconnect, and hit OK. The package has been deployed successfully. Let's connect back, and now we should be fine. Okay, so now we are connected with our Azure SQL database. Here is my SSIS DB, and here is my integration services catalog, SSIS DB, and here's new packages, projects, and right here, go to the packages and right click and go configure. I have seen this type of error before. That's why I'm doing all these steps, like drop the folder and recreate and connect back and all that, because I know that this is not an error really. And here I go to the destination, and here's my source. And remember, we have copied our account key. So right there, that's what we needed. So this is the key we needed, and we are going to provide that so we can access the file from the Azure Blob storage container. Hit OK, and we should be all good in the destination. And now see, this is pointing to my C drive. And if you remember that we have this our Azure VM, that's where we would like to paste those files. So I'm on C drive right here, and I'm gonna go right there to the my PC C drive, and here I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call this one SSIS file folder. Okay, so and then I'm gonna right click here and go to the properties here, and then go to sharing and then share. And I will leave everything as it is, and for TB user I'm gonna use it right now, and I'm gonna share. And this is the path it is created. So I can copy this path as it is, and then you should use it. So I'm going to copy, hit close, and if I go to networks here, so you can see right there, actually this is the path. So I can open, actually just paste it there and open, and you can see it's empty right now. So I copied, see this is my VM name backslash my folder name. So I'm gonna just close this, go right here, and here I'm gonna edit value and paste backslash my test file.txt. So you notice that I am putting the computer name backslash my share folder name backslash my file name. So I don't know if you can see it in a large screen. I'm gonna copy and show you. So right there, here, that's what I have. Okay, so that's my computer name, and then I have a share folder, and then I have provided a file name. If I will hit OK here, and now I'm gonna hit OK here, and I still believe it's gonna fail, and ask me why. Because we have not added our user as a credential here in the SSIS DB. So I'm gonna let it fail one time so you can see. Oh, come on, I was supposed to execute. So cancel this out, and now we execute. Execute, hit OK. Let's refresh and take a look, and here our SSIS package has been completed with failure, and that's fine because this time I know that what could be the problem, and what we are going to do, we are going to take care of that. So you see right there is giving you error saying this file name is specified in the connection is not valid. So right there, so we have our folder and test file. So pretty much same type of error what we has been getting now. So now what we are going to do here, we will take that TB user and add to it. So if you remember that this is the link we used, and connect to the file share on Azure VM, that's what we are going to do. This is going to stay as it is, and here I'm going to provide my username. So it's going to be TB user. So after providing the password, so what we have to do, we have to run this query on the SSIS DB. So change to the SSIS DB, and now we execute. This is completed successfully. Let's go back and take a look, and I'm going to copy this query to verify I have everything done correctly and this credential is added. So now once we paste it there and we execute, we can see that TB user is added. And let's right click again on the package and execute. Okay, so we can see that our package has been completed successfully, and now I can go to the storage here and on the Azure VM, and I can see that file is there. So you can open it, and it has all the data what we need here. So if you notice that I just put backslash my server name, that's my Azure VM backslash my shared path. Now also, if you don't want to provide the exact user what you have there, you can provide another user. So if you go to computer management, and once you go to the computer management in your local VM that you have there, you're going to add a new user. So if I go ahead and add new user here, I can provide a new user, and I can provide my name here, and I can give permission to that user. So if you are logged in with your AAD account, then you can create a local account, and then you can use to provide in credential. So here, let's say test 123 $. Okay, and the password never expired. So create, and once you create that, you can use that user. I'm gonna make this user. I have this user, and I can go right there, and in this folder, I can simply go right there and right click properties, and here sharing, share, and then I can find Amir, and then add. So you can see right there, I'm giving a read and write to Amir account. So then share. So that's done, and close. Now, well, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna drop this file and then delete here, and then I can come back here, and now I have if I want to use the same credential with Amir, so I'm gonna use add Amir. So instead of my TB user that was admin on my account, I can simply add that local account. So I'm going to copy, go back here, open a new query in SSIS DB right there, paste it, Here I will use user Amir, and I will use the password test123 $, and now I will execute. Now this is done, and after this is completed, you can see right there, so we set that, and here we can check. Now instead of a TB user, we have a Amir. So see right that this is the account we'll be using to access that share, and I have added that in the credentials. So we should be good here, and now we can right click and execute our SSIS package again. Yes, let's refresh. Let's change the filter, because sometimes that does not display. So from 24th to 25th. So now it should show us the data, and you can see that this has been completed successfully. And if I go right there, I can see the information. Looks good. So Tech Brothers, this is SSIS folder, and we have used Amir as our credential instead of using the TB user that I used to create my VM. So I added a local account. Now, if I go back to my Azure VM, the file is there. So if you notice here, I use the server path here, and that's fine. That will work as well. So if you see here, I have used the server path here, and server name / my folder name. So in your case, you can also use the IP if you want. So if you go to your local right here, and then go to the CMD, and here in the CMD, if we will do IP config, you're gonna get this IP 10.0.004 or 5 or something like that. That's the local IP of your machine. So in this case, is if you can give a static IP to your machine, so I can do something like 10.0.0.0 / C, and then that file share SSIS folder right there. So that can be also done. So I can copy this if I want to do something like that, and pass as well. So I'm going to delete the file. I'm going to go back to my SSIS here, and then right click, go to configuration, go to connection managers, and here in the destination I'm going to provide that. So go to edit, and here I will just change it. So that should do it, and hit OK, and now I will go ahead and execute my package again. Yes, okay. I'm going to close all these extra windows. I will put this in the description as well. So this query and other queries, so you can use them. Remember, the Azure VM and your SSIS IR has to be in the same VNet to make this work. Now let's go back here. Let's change the filter to see the data for all. So here, and you can see that the number 6 has been completed. We can go right here, and the file is there. Now that's great. So everything works awesome. Now next step is creating our pipeline. So I'm going to go to author here, and in the author I'm going to go to pipeline here, and say SSIS. Execute SSIS package activity settings, and then you're going to go to the Azure SSIS IR. So in our case, the name is SSIS IR. Once you do that, it's going to give you your SSIS DB. That's where our packages are saved. Now we can click down there and select. Let's refresh here so that we can get all the folders and everything from our SSIS DB. You might have felt that I'm rushing into things because I have wasted almost 4 hours on this one to figure out. So go to folder here, new SSIS packages, and then go to the package project here, package. Select the package and environment if you want to pass some variables and all those kind of things, or parameters, so you can do it to here. I'm going to go to parameters here, and then I'm going to go to connection managers. If you need to change something, you can always come here and change. In my case, such as let's say your VM IP or name has to be changed, or let's say the file name we want to change. My struggle .csv file. Okay, so if you want to do something like that, you can do that. And here is your storage account, and here is your key. If you want to make that change, you can always click here and change, and that's it. Now we can go ahead and debug our SSIS package. So this is going to execute our pipeline that's going to call our SSIS package, and then we should be able to see success here, and also we should be able to see the outcome on our in the reports as well. So here it is succeeded, not a whole lot we can see in this information. I'm glad it came green, and now I'm going to go back here and go to the reports, just refresh, and we should see number 7 entry. I'm going to go to filter here again, change the filters to add the latest date, and here is the number 7. So we ran the pipeline from the ADF. Sorry, we ran the pipeline from ADF that executed our SSIS package, and that has written the file to our share folder. So see right there, my struggle.txt file. So I go back to VM, and here is my struggle.txt file. I open, the data is there. So in this video, what we learned, if you are trying to read the data from your Azure Blob storage, you will be able to do that by using SSIS IR. A few things you need to remember. The package you are going to create, it need to have a flexible file source that comes off with the Azure SSIS Azure feature pack that you have to download and install. Then you are going to read the data and write to data by using flat file destination. That will be simply to your C drive, D drive, that later will change with the path of our Azure VM. Second path, when you create your VM, Azure VM, it need to be in the VNet. So okay, if you don't create with the VNet, then later on you add the default VNet for your SSIS IR. So I rather ask you, like if you are planning to do that, you create your SSIS, you create the VNet first, then create your Azure VM, and then create the SSIS IR in the same VNet. So no problem at all. That's why I was struggling with all those errors while I was creating this demo. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you learned something out of this, and this video will help you to achieve something that took me 6 hours to maybe in 30 minutes. I will see you guys in the next video.